Hi students, a very warm welcome to you all to the chemistry sessions. So I've brought a set of 10 questions for you, CBSE pattern exercise for the chapter Atoms and Molecules, and I hope everybody is revised with the entire concept because we are going to do all the questions together right here, and I'm expecting that each one of you get it right, okay? So let's start with the question number 1. What do we have? Okay, first read the instructions over here. Question number 1, 2, 3 will be 1 mark. So answer accordingly. Okay, no extra marks will be given for some extra points or some irrelevant points. Okay, if 100 grams of calcium carbonate, whether in the form of marble or chalk, you know how calcium carbonate exists. It can be in the form of marble or can be in the form of a chalk, are decomposed. Okay, completely, then 56 grams of calcium oxide. So basically they are talking about the decomposition of the calcium carbonate. What is the reaction? Need not go into the detail of the entire question. First write down the reaction. So calcium carbonate CaCO3 will decompose to calcium oxide. That has been given in the question, and 44 grams of carbon dioxide. Okay, so it will be CO2. Now what they have given is actually the weight of all the quantities which are produced. 100 grams of calcium carbonate along with calcium oxide is 56 grams and carbon dioxide is 44 grams. What they are asking, so which law of chemical combination is resulted is illustrated by this statement. So can you tell me any guesses? So what they need is just the justification of the mass both of the sides. So let us calculate. 100 is the total for reactants, and we know as per law of conservation of mass, the total mass to the reactant side will be equal to the total mass on the product side. So 56 plus 44, how much? It is going to be again 100 grams, and this proves what chemical combination law? Can you tell me? Yes, I have told you already. Law of conservation of mass. Okay, so what can I say over here? That the mass, it is not actually created nor it is destroyed. It can be just formed from one form to the another. It can be just transformed. That is how it proves the entire reaction. Cool? Okay. Now this was the question number 1 which we had, and let us try to move on. As I told you that this is a 1 mark question, so you just need only one statement that this depicts that it is law of conservation of mass, or the mass is conserved in the entire reaction. That is how you will have to write. Okay. Now question number 2, again a simple one. Define formula mass of a compound. What is formula mass? It's somewhat related to the molecular mass. Yes, that's right. Don't get confused. What is molecular mass? Basically whenever we deal with some covalent compounds, okay? But if I specifically talk about the formula mass, it's none other than the molecular mass. That means in a compound, the atomic masses of each and every element which is present, right? The total of that is the molecular mass, and that is only the formula mass. But in the case of ionic solids, or I can say ionic compounds, I just call it as formula mass. It is just the difference of what we call. So the criteria will remain the same, the logic will remain the same. For example, if I just try to calculate the molecular mass of NaCl, so sodium is 23, chlorine 35.5, how much? 58.5 grams will be the total mass. Okay, that means this can be called as molecular mass, but more appropriately formula mass, okay, in the case of an ionic compound. Got it? So accordingly you have to write the answer. Now question number 3, how many moles of 3.6 grams of water? Now comes up the mole concept. Okay, so here what they are asking is number of moles, okay, and what they have given is 3.6 grams of H2O. So how many grams of water corresponds to 1 mole, do you remember? So it is again related to the molecular mass. Can you tell me what is the molecular mass for water? 2 into 1 plus oxygen is 16. How much? 18 units is the molecular mass. If I talk about the molar mass, that is in the terms of moles, we consider it in the terms of grams. That is going to be 18 grams corresponding to 1 mole of water. Do you remember or not? I hope everybody remembers that. That is very easy calculation. So we know 18 grams is 1 mole. So you can very well find out by the unitary method 3.6 grams how many moles? This much. 18 twos are 36.2 moles will be the answer. And I hope everybody has calculated the same. Cool? Okay. So that was question number 3. Again a simple one having just 1 mark. It's a one statement question. Now, question number 4. Now 4 to 5 carry 2 mark. Remember this? What is the atomicity of the following? First of all, what is the atomicity? Atomicity is actually corresponding to whenever an atom, it actually combines with the same atom and it exists as a stable compound in the nature, right? So what is the atomicity? That means how many atoms of oxygen itself is there in the oxygen gas? O2, it exists as O2, okay, very stable. Ozone, it exists as O3. So here the atomicity they are asking, they are not asking about the compound formula. So just remember atomicity will be 2, atomicity will be 3. Neon, it is a stable gas, it is an inert gas, it does not combine with any other atom, okay. So it is having 1 atomicity. Now sulfur, it exists as 8 is the atomicity. Phosphorus, as I told you, it's 4, and sodium, again a metal, can be in a combined state, but in the individual state it does not combine with any other sodium to be stable. So it is also having, so 2 of them are having 1 as atomicity, whereas the others, their atomicity varies, okay. So that was question number 4. I hope everybody has got it, and each part will be given, half mark or something. Fine. Now, show by the means of calculations that 5 moles of CO2, now this is again mole concept, very interesting. We need to show that 5 moles of CO2 and 5 moles of H2O do not have the same mass, definitely. They are talking about 5 moles each, but the compounds are different, carbon dioxide and water. So that means the masses will also be different. Okay, let's see how. 5 moles of CO2 and let's check out here 5 moles of water. Fine. So see here 5 moles of carbon dioxide. I have the value for 1 mole of carbon dioxide, which is going to be its molar mass, right? What is it? 44 grams. How? 12 plus 16 into 2. That is how you need to calculate. Now, this is the molar mass for 1 mole. For 5 moles will be 5 into 44. How much? 220. Fine. Let me check the calculations right here. Right, 220 is the answer. Fine. 5 moles of water. Now, what is the molar mass for water? We just calculated it. 18 grams corresponding to 1 mole. 5 moles will be 18 5s are 90. Okay. So this is going to be 90 grams. Is the mass similar? No, it is not. One is 220, another is 90. So do not have the same mass. They have already told us. How much is the difference in their masses? I just need to find out the difference. So 220 minus 90 comes out to be how much? It's coming out to be 130 grams. Right? So that is the answer. Fine? Okay, now let's move on to the next question. So mostly from this chapter, molarity based questions, right? That means not molarity but mole concept questions are more likely to come, and they will definitely come, okay, because it is going to be a very, very important topic from your 11th standard as well as your 12th standard also. Now question number 6. Okay, 3-mark question, seems to be a pretty good question having several parts. What is an ion? How is an ion formed? Okay, first of all, what is an ion? Ion is a species which is not stable first of all. It is formed whenever, how it is formed? Now comes up the formation. Whenever a species gain electron, okay, and I am not very sure that how many electrons will be gained, okay, so that is why I am writing n electrons, or the species can lose electrons as well depending upon how they have to complete their octets or duplets, okay. So depending upon their valency, an ion is formed. So gaining or losing, if I gain, we get some negative, Ne electron, right? If I lose, I get a positive charge developed on the atom, right? Okay. So in both of the cases, one is the negative ion which is formed, another is the positive ion which is formed, and negative one is known as the anion, whereas the positive one is known as the cation, okay. So explain with help of 2 different examples. Yes, I can give examples as well. See, in NaCl, sodium, right, it gains 1 electron or loses? It loses 1 electron. So it has got 281 as the electronic configuration. It needs to lose 1. 2 chlorine having 287. Both need to complete their octets. So Na will lose, generating a cation, whereas Cl will gain, generating a an ion, right? So that is how you need to give an idea through an example, okay. And not just this example, you can take up different examples, but remember only the ionic compounds are valid over here. Maybe MgCl2, yes, this is also an ionic. Even if you don't know that even if you don't remember the name of the ionic compound, you can just form it. Take one metal, a usual one, and take one, let's say a non-metal, usually chlorine you can take, okay. So one metal, let's say not just Na, if I don't remember Na, let's say potassium, potassium along with chlorine, KCl, again an ionic compound, I can very well depict that. So that completes my part number 1 with 2 examples of different ions. Got it? Now, the valencies or the charges of some of the ions are given. Study this data. They have given the valencies. Sodium ion +1 we know, we just have formed it, okay. Ammonium ion +1, yes. So ammonium ion, and the next one is calcium ion +2, lead is +2. So what is the purpose of giving this particular data? Let us just check out the question first. What do they actually need from us? Using this information, write down the formula of the following compound. So basically, yes, as I was suspecting, they want us to write down the formula, because they haven't, if you have noticed here, they haven't given any formulas over here for all the ions. Sodium phosphate I need to form, okay. So see here, first of all, let us just get an idea of the phosphate ion. 3 negative is the charge, okay. So I need to form the formula. Sodium means Na, phosphate means PO4. We know the charge is -3, we know the charge is +1. I need to equate the two. How do we do it? +1 and -3, okay. So these are the valencies, basically 1, 3. Let us just try to cross multiply. Na3PO4 is the answer, because we need to equate the charges. The positive charge must be equal to the negative, so that we get the total charge as 0, a neutral compound is formed. Ammonium phosphate, okay, not ammonium phosphate, it's ammonium sulfate. Ammonium ion is this ion having a +1 charge, and sulfate, SO4 sulfate is 2 negative, need to equate it once again. So -2, over here also it should be +2. That means I need to make it twice. That is the formula. Or else you can do the regular way, the classical way of cross multiplication. Fine? Okay. So you have to always go by the logic. Calcium hydroxide. Calcium, just like the magnesium, has +2 charge. Hydroxide, OH, -1. Again we need to equate it, multiply it by 2, and we got it CaOH whole twice is the formula. Fine. Now lead bromide. What is lead? Pb. And they have actually mentioned, see, in some of the metals, maybe not metals but even in non-metals, what happens is not just one valency, it exhibit more than one valencies. So you need to look over here is lead. Lead, it can be present as +2 or it can be present as +4 as well. So we need to check in the question what actually they have demanded for. Lead ion +2, so we need to consider +2, okay? So don't just go by the data which you have in your mind, try to recheck it with the, try to verify it with the given data. +2, bromide, bromine, -1, make it twice and we got it. Are you able to do that? Okay, I hope everybody has got this, how to actually make the formulas over here. This is going to really help you in the higher classes. Now this completes my question number 6 as well. Now coming on to the 7th one. What is meant by the molar mass? I have already discussed this thing, okay? Molar mass of a substance, state the unit in which the molar mass is usually expressed. So basically, as we convert our values from the simple atoms to moles, then we consider not the molecular mass but the molar mass, which then get converted from the unit to atomic mass unit to grams, yes. So basically that is in grams that we express the molar mass usually, okay, and molar mass in terms of moles. So basically if I find out the molar mass of a compound, that means it will be corresponding to 1 mole of it, fine, we know this. And yeah, I am not going to write the entire definition for you because we have already discussed this, you can refer to the lecture for that. Calculate the molar masses of the following substance, okay, write the results in the proper units. So it's super easy, just need to write down the molecular masses in grams and it will do my work. 1 oxygen 16, so 16 into 3, 48 grams, right? That is the molar mass. mm, we can also write mm over here. Ethanoic acid, simple, see here, 12 into 2, that means 24, plus 4 into 1 for hydrogens, plus 16 into 2. How much? 24 plus 4 plus 32, how much? 28 plus 32, 10, 60. It is coming out to be 60, yeah, that's right. So 60 grams for the ethanoic acid is the molar mass for this particular compound. What is the another name for ethanoic acid? Can you tell me? It is acetic acid, yes, that is present in the vinegar. So you are intelligent people, you know most of the things on your own. Now A part done, B part done. Let's move on further to the question number 8. Define atomic mass unit. What is it? What is the symbol of it which is used commonly? Okay. Atomic mass unit first of all, and what is atomic mass? Both of the terms I'll be explaining simultaneously. Atomic mass, what is it? So basically it is actually a relative mass. As I told you in the lecture also, that if we want to measure the atomic mass for any element in grams, what will happen? It will come out to be 10 to the power minus 24 minus 25, so complicated values. So we never wanted that. So in relation with one particular element, that is carbon, we found out the atomic masses of other elements as well. So that is why it is a atomic mass is basically in relation with, it's actually a relative mass in relation with the carbon as compound, okay, carbon as atom. So basically if we talk about the atomic mass of carbon 12, this is an isotope, specific isotope of carbon we have taken because it is usually very abundant in nature. So atomic mass, it actually comes out to be this much grams, which again makes our calculation very complicated. So what do we do over here is, we assign this as a relative. Okay, so we just do is assign 1 unit is equal to 1 by 12th of this entire mass of the carbon. Okay, and which is coming out to be 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 23 grams. So we call this as 1 unit. That means 12 units will be corresponding to the mass of carbon 12. That is mass of the carbon 12. If I talk about 1 unit, it will be 1/12 of the mass of carbon 12 through this particular data. Fine. So this unit is actually equal to the atomic mass unit, also known as AMU. Its units are also known as AMU. Fine. Usually these days not AMU, but we call it as U. That's it. Units. 12 units, that means mass of the carbon 12. If we talk about any other element, let's say magnesium, 24 units it is. That means how much? 24 times of 1 unit. 1 unit is this much. Getting it? Or I can say just 24 times of this. Yes, that is how we actually lead to this term atomic mass unit and atomic mass of an element. Fine. Now you can very well find out. What is meant by saying that the atomic mass of the carbon of the oxygen is 16? That means it is saying it's 16 units. That means it is 16 times the 16 times the 1 by 12th of carbon 12 mass. That is what we actually correlate with the carbon 12. So 16 times of the 1 unit. This is what? This is 1 unit only. Yes? So that is how we can correlate it with the carbon. I hope everybody has got it. It's a bit confusing, but not really. Once you get what are the actual values, you can, it's again a convention. We are not able to measure such big quantities, such complicated quantities. So we just name it as in the terms of units to make our calculations easier. Okay? So that was question number 8. Everybody has got it or not? So I am hoping that. Still have any doubts? You can approach me. Now, yeah, 5-mark question. 2 questions will be there. Okay. A liquid compound X. So it's a mapping question, one of my favorites. A liquid compound X of molecular mass 18. Can you tell me what is the compound? Just by looking at this data. 18 units, 18 grams. Yes, we just found out it is of water. So we are just suspecting over here that this is water. Let us just try to confirm it. Can be obtained from a number of natural resources. Water can be obtained from a number of natural resources. It is confirmed. All the animals and plants need liquid X. Yes, water. We need water for our survival. When an electric current is passed, now electric current, they are passing through this liquid X. That means electrolysis of water. Okay. So they are passing the electric current under suitable conditions. What they get? Okay. So basically in electrolysis of water, there is a positive end and there is a negative end. Negative means cathode and the positive one means anode. We know this. In the solution form, what do we have? H plus ions and OH negative ions. Yes, for the water. Also, we add a little amount of electrolyte also, that is the H2SO4, that is just for the movement of current. Okay. Now, the main thing is H positive, which goes to the terminal negative, gains the electron and it gets released as H2 gas. Whereas on the positive end, this comes up and gets released as the O2 gas. Okay, done with the entire thing? Fine. So, what is basically the reaction happening? Reaction is somewhat like this. Okay, fine. So, what I can just do is twice and twice. We have balanced the entire equation as well. Fine. Now, so current is passed through 200 grams of liquid X. Okay, so they have taken 200 grams of it. Then, yeah, 200 grams Then 178 grams of Y is produced, okay, and 22 grams of 178 is Y, 22 is Z. Gas Y is produced at the positive end. What is the gas at the positive end? O2, right? So this is Y and this must be then Z. Fine. So Y is 178 grams and Z is 22 grams if you see. Okay. Moreover, gas Y supports combustion. Now is it confirmed? Oxygen always supports combustion. Whenever I want to burn anything, I need air for that. Yes? Moreover, yeah, it supports combustion and Z burns itself, causing explosions, popping sound. Remember, that is for the hydrogen. My entire question has been confirmed. What are actually they looking for? Let's see. Right. So first of all, name the liquid X. X is water, yes. Y, O2, Z, H2. Fine. What is the ratio of the mass of the element Z to the mass of the element Y? In the liquid X, what is the ratio? Can you tell me? See here, if we go by the stoichiometric coefficients, that means 2 is to 1. Fine. 2 is to 1 is the ratio if we talk about Z is to Y. Fine. Okay. Which law of chemical combination is illustrated by this example? Name two sources of liquid. Okay. So we'll be just moving on to these questions in a while. Two sources, let us just go on with that. Liquid X, two sources, lakes, ponds, oceans, anywhere. Lakes, ponds I can write. Rain can be one. State an important use of Y in your life. It is used for breathing. It's used for our survival basically. Now, so what actually they were asking? They are asking what is the ratio of the mass of the element Z to the mass of the element Y in the liquid X. Okay. In the liquid X, what is the elemental ratio they are asking? They are not asking anything about related to these ratios. Fine. So hydrogen is twice and oxygen is 1. Fine. Now, as per the given data, what actually they are depicting? 200 grams this is. How much is this? Again 200 grams. Law of conservation of mass. Fine. And also, if you look here very carefully, if you try to find the ratio of each one of them, again it is going to be 2 is to 1 only. Fine. Okay. So, yeah, that completes my question. It was very, very interesting. So, you had to actually read the entire question properly. This was a bit confusing. What is the ratio of the mass of element of Z to the mass of the element of Y in the liquid X? So, basically they are asking about in H2O, what is the mass ratio? See here. Okay. So, that is not going to be 1 is to 2. See, 2 will be the total mass for the hydrogen and for oxygen it's 16. So 1 is to 8 is the ratio basically, if they talk about the mass. If they talk about the number of elements, then it's going to be 2 is to 1. If they talk about the stoichiometry which is obtained, then it's also going to be 2 is to 1. Got it? Okay. Pretty good question. You had to be very careful here. Now question number 10. What mass of nitrogen N2 will contain the same number of molecules as 1.8 grams of water H2O? Okay. So basically what they are asking is mass of nitrogen. How much mass of nitrogen will be there? Let's say X of N2 gas, which will be containing the same number of molecules as 1.8 grams of water. So how many molecules of 1.8 grams of water will be there? Okay, let's see. That means 18 grams of water, it contains 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 molecules. Yes, that is corresponding to 1 mole. Now 1.8 grams will be having how many molecules? That means I am just doing divided by 10, comes out to be 23 by 18 into 1.8. Fine. That means 10. So this many molecules. So first of all, what I have calculated is the number of molecules in the case of water, this much of water, fine. What mass of nitrogen will contain same molecules? Now they are asking these molecules will be, we should consider it for the nitrogen gas, okay. So see here, N2 gas, if I calculate it for 1 mole, how much mass comes out to be? 14 into 2, that is 28 grams. 28 grams corresponds to, yeah, okay, 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 molecules of N2, fine. Now see here, very carefully, they are asking what will be the mass of N2 for these many molecules, okay. That means these many molecules mass, we know it's 28 grams, so how much for this? So again unitary method, 6.022 into 10 to the power 23 will correspond to 28 grams. That means 6.022 into 10 to the power 22 will correspond to how much? 022 into 10 to the power 23 into this much amount, that is 10 to the power 22. Cut it, 10 will be remaining, 2.8 grams of nitrogen gas. What is the mass of the nitrogen gas? 2.8 grams. Yes, got it? So I hope everybody has got this. You just need to, apply a brain over here, because again it's going to be a little confusing. The statement is confusing, otherwise the calculations are so easy, you will get your answer in few seconds, okay. So that completes my question number 10 as well. I hope everybody has enjoyed this session and have understood it properly. If not, again you can approach me. I'll be available to clear your doubts every time, fine? Okay, so have a nice day.